Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies, and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program live on our Facebook page, that's Radyo Pilipinas World Service, as well as on our live audio streaming, search Evox PBS Receiver app. So join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo. So let's have a rundown on issues on the education sector, as the Department of Education, or DepEd, has said that the consultation on the updated curriculum guides for grades 11 and 12 is now open to the general public and other private stakeholders. This public consultation complies with the directives of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s or to ensure quality education and employability of senior high school graduates. The Education Department said the result of public consultation will be reviewed and integrated into the final framework of the SHS curriculum. Under the updated curriculum guidelines, the core subjects were reduced to 5 from 15, with the new subjects including effective communication, life skills, general mathematics, general science, and pag-aaral ng kasaysayan at lipunang Pilipino, or the history and social studies, alongside time allocation, were all adjusted for the mastery of essential competencies. The updated SHS curriculum guide also organized the elective subjects, or the SHS elective subjects, into clusters which learners can choose from instead of taking fixed subjects under the strand. The agency previously held stakeholders' engagement to discuss proposed features of the updated SHS curriculum with more than 2,000 participants in 14 regions nationwide from January to February. And more from the Department of Education as it's intensifying its efforts to combat the bullying and violence in schools through reinforced policies, expanded training programs, as well as an overhaul of its reporting and protection mechanism. And according to the PISA 2019 report, which was released in 2024, 65% of Filipino students reported being victims of any type of bullying at least a few times in a month, with a staggering 40% being bullied frequently or once a week or more. And on the other hand, the PISA 2022 reports that 1 out of 3, take note of that, 1 out of 3 Filipino students are being bullied in schools. And that is about 43% of girls and 53% of boys in the Philippines encounter bullying incidents multiple times a month. So that's a much higher than the OECD average of 20% of girls and 21% of boys. And also, following a series of highly publicized campus violence incidents, including cyberbullying and physical assaults among students, Department of Education Assistant Secretary Dexter Galban, during a Senate hearing, unveiled a broader strategy to prevent that and as well as report and respond to abuse in the basic education sector. Among the centerpiece initiatives of the Department of Education is the Child Protection Specialization, which aims to equip school personnel with the necessary knowledge, skills, and shift in attitude orientation to manage learner protection concerns more effectively. And that course is part of a larger plan to assign dedicated child protection specialists in all regional and school division offices. And each school, according to DepEd, is also expected to have at least one trained and permanent child protection officer that will be hired by the Department of Education. Assistant Secretary Galban also revealed a plan to establish a learner telesafe platform in every region targeted to provide faster and real-time responses to report of abuse or violence while being sensitive to the language and cultural context of each community, and that includes social media. And the department, in collaboration with the Second Congressional Commission on Education, or EDCOM 2, is also currently revising the implementing rules and regulation of the Anti-Bullying Act, with the revised guidelines expected to be finalized this month of April. And Galban said the department has also made several structural changes to strengthen its response system, such as establishing a national helpline, which is to enable reporting of school-based violence. And on the higher congressional side, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, the chair of the Senate Committee on Basic Education, welcomed the department's reforms, but he stressed that the importance of full implementation and measurable results of the said law. Senator Gatchalian is also pushing for a stronger implementation of the Republic Act 12080, or also known as the Basic Education, Mental Health and Well-being Promotion Act, which mandates school-based mental health programs, crisis response systems, and support services for learners. And also, the Department of Education data shows that more than 79,000 or almost 80,000 bullying cases were recorded between 2019 and 2022. So that's a span of 4 years. And with physical bullying comprising the bulk, while between November 2022 and April 2025, the department helpline received more than 1,000 reports or off-campus violence, including physical and cyberbullying. And also, for this program, and particularly later this morning, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will witness the signing of a joint memorandum circular on aligning the board licensure examination for professional teachers. But first, why do we have this joint memorandum circular, and how will this benefit our educators? The alignment, according to the EDCOM 2, or the Second Congressional Commission on Education, that alignment aims to address the persistent poor results, quote-unquote, persistent poor results in the board licensure examination for professional teachers. In the Year 2 report released by the Commission on January 27 this year, it called for a better coordination among government agencies, particularly the education side of the government, and reforms as well in the teacher education curriculum. The Professional Regulation Commission, the report said, has failed to update the board licensure examination for professional teachers to align with the policy standards and as well as the guidelines of the Commission on Higher Education, which was updated last 2017. And EDCOM 2 Executive Director Carol Markey flagged the mismatch, as for example, of course, the graduates under Bachelor of Early Childhood Education program are forced to take the licensure exam for Bachelor of Elementary Education graduates, because the PRC has not made any adjustments for early childhood education despite having its own revised CHED policy standards and guidelines. So you can see that there is a mismatch on that particular scene. And the misalignment continues as EDCOM 2 said that 62% of high school teachers are teaching subjects outside their college major, meaning to say that our teachers are teaching not just one subject but also a different subject, which is out of their scope or out of their college majors. And Executive Director Yi recalled an encounter with an educator during a meeting, and it said that they are teaching a subject that they did not study in college. Thus, the non-adjustment has failed to produce education graduates with the right specialization and right set of skills. And with this, the executive director appealed for improvements on coordination in teacher education, as it is not only affecting teachers but also students and the education system. So we have to watch out for the signing of that said joint memorandum circular in Malacanang today or this morning. And when we come back, we will focus on the food sector as the Bagong Pilipinas Marketplace has been launched. How will this contribute in our economy? And we will cover that for you when Front and Center returns after these messages.
Hatol ng Bayan. Election Quick Facts.
National and local positions. Sa darating na May 12, 2025 midterm elections, ang bawat botanteng Pilipino ay pipili ng mga bagong leaders para sa national and local positions, kabilang ang 12 senators, members of the House of Representatives, at party list representatives, at local government officials gaya ng governor, mayor, board members, at councilors. Kasabay nito ay idiraos rin ang kauna-unahang Bangsamoro Parliament elections, kung saan 25 members of the parliament at 40 party representatives ang ihahalal ng ating mga kapatid sa BARMM.
Hatol ng Bayan. Election Quick Facts.
Todo bantay ang pambansang pulisya sa mga bagong style ng krimen. Tulad ng carjacking noon, narentangay na ngayon. Sa Bagong Pilipinas ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., 1 milyong operasyon ang ikinasa laban sa karnaping.
The mission remains to serve and to protect our people.
Mula July 2022 hanggang November 2024, nasa 3,000 sospek ng rentangay ang nahuli. Higit 2,700 ang naibalik na sasakyan.
Para may maayos na pundasyon para sa kabataang Pilipino, inutos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na magpatayo ng Child Development Centers or CDCs sa mga low-income barangays sa bansa.
These CDCs are venues for the implementation of early childhood care and development center programs and services, especially the early learning programs and family support program. Sa mga center na ito, maaaring makapaglaro, makapagbasa, at makapag-aral ang ating mga kabataan. It can also be used as a resource center for developmentally appropriate learning materials and a laboratory for conducting research, data gathering, and innovations about early childhood.
Pangako ng Pangulo na hindi titigil ang pamahalaan sa pagbibigay ng kinakailangang suporta para sa mga bata dahil sila ang magmamana at magpapatibay naman ng pundasyon ng ating bansa sa hinaharap.
The government continues to find ways to support our children so they can grow, they can thrive, and reach full potential. Through health and community programs, we remain committed to helping them become productive members of our society.
Para sa iba pang mga balita at impormasyon, manatiling nakatuto. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko 738.
This is a public service announcement.
Maging handa sa oras ng sakuna. Para sa iyo at sa iyong pamilya, laging siguruhin. Go Bag ay nakahanda at naglalaman ng mga sumusunod. Ilang pirasong damit, ready-to-eat na pagkain at inuming aabot ng 3 araw. Personal na gamit para sa inyong hygiene. First aid kit kabilang ang alcohol, bandages, gamot sa lagnat, ubo at sipon, pati na rin ang inyong vitamins at maintenance medicines. Maglagay ng pito, flashlight, lighter o posporo. Huwag kalimutan ang mga charger o power bank. At higit sa lahat, isama ang mga importanteng gamit gaya ng inyong mga legal na dokumento, IDs, ATM o passbook, insurance at iba pa.
This is a public service announcement. Public service announcement from PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service, and Radyo Pilipinas.
Radyo Pilipinas World Service Online. Reaching you in digital format. Anytime, anywhere. From Manila, Philippines.
Welcome back to Front and Center. The Department of Trade and Industry or DTI has launched the Bagong Pilipinas Marketplace the country's largest business-to-business e-commerce platform, coinciding with the opening of the Bagong Pilipinas National Food Fair in Mandaluyong City. The e-commerce platform aims to advance the country's micro, small, and medium enterprises. And this initiative is set to become a robust business-to-business e-commerce platform that will highlight the products and services that are proudly Filipino. And President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. highlighted the importance of this platform as it utilizes the digital technology to expand markets, to expand supply chain, to make more efficient the delivery of goods and services. And that's in part of the digitalization efforts of the Marcos Jr. administration. The chief executive has ordered the Department of Trade and Industry to lead the implementation of a sustainable framework to ensure the long-term functionality and support for micro, small, and medium enterprises in today's digital economy. President Marcos Jr. added that every government agencies must work hand in hand to provide local businesses with the knowledge and the resources that they need to navigate this new digital landscape. He said that the government is committed to ensure that our entrepreneurs and consumers are protected through secure cashless payment systems. The chief executive urged both domestic and foreign investors to explore the country's vibrant food and business landscape, stressing the Philippine market is open for inclusive and sustainable growth. He also urged all Filipinos to continue championing local products. The Bagong Pilipinas Marketplace is the largest digital gateway for Filipino SMEs to engage in wholesale trade and connect with both local and global markets. And in 2023, the DTI report, citing data from the Philippine Statistics Authority, it recorded a total of 1,246,373 business enterprises operating in the country. And of these, take a listen, 1,241,733 or 99.63% are MSMEs and 4,640 or 0.37% are large enterprises. So you can see that there is a large number of small businesses that is operating in the country and supporting our economy. And also, the micro enterprises constitute 90.43% or 127,058 of total establishments, followed by small enterprises at 8.82%, which is at 109,912, and medium enterprises at 0.38% or 4,763 pesos. So if we are talking about the micro enterprises, so are the small businesses that we usually see in our neighborhoods as well as in our communities. And the small and medium enterprises are bigger than the micro enterprises, but on a larger scale. And also, the MSMEs are truly vital in our economy as it generates a total of 6,351,466 jobs, or 66.97% of the country's total employment. So that's almost 70% of our labor workforce. And of the country's total employment, and at the same time, micro enterprises produce the biggest share, which is at 33.95%, closely followed by small enterprises at 26.26%, while medium enterprises lag behind at 6.77%. Meanwhile, large enterprises generated a total of 3,132,499 jobs, or 33.03% of country's overall employment. So majority of these micro, small, and medium enterprises can be found in the National Capital Region, Region 4A or the Calabar Zone, Region 3 or Central Luzon, Region 7 the Central Visayas, and Western Visayas, or also known as Region 6. And these top 5 locations accounted for about 59.65% of the country's total number of MSME establishments. And the top 5 industry sectors, according to the number of MSMEs in 2023, still according to the PSA data, number 1 is the wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles. Second is accommodation and food service activities. Third is manufacturing for other services activities. And last one is financial and insurance activities. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the latest tariff from Washington. Front and center. We'll be right back.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy, tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
Ang sayaw ay mahalagang bahagi ng ating kultura. It is a universal form of self-expression, and no other dance expresses it better than ballet. Meet Alice Reyes, a Filipino dancer, choreographer, teacher, director, producer, and founder of Ballet Philippines. Alice took lessons in classical ballet at a very young age. She completed a Bachelor of Arts degree in History and Foreign Services and took postgraduate studies at Ateneo de Manila University. Alam niyo ba na noong February 1970, her dance company staged the first ever modern dance concert at the Cultural Center of the Philippines Main Theater? At noong June 2014, si Alice Reyes ay naparangalan ng highest award in the arts ng Order of National Artist of the Philippines.
Yan ang Pinoy Kultura because our culture is cool. To know more,
Saan man, anumang oras, konektado ka sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service Online. Online digital na serbisyo para sa Pinoy sa bagong Pilipinas. Radyo Pilipinas World Service Online.
Again, welcome back to Front and Center. We're going to talk about the latest Trump's tariff drama in Washington. Of course, President Donald Trump announced on Thursday, U.S. Eastern Time, a 90-day pause on all the reciprocal tariffs that went into effect except for China. Enormous tariffs, as CNN reported, will remain on China. President Trump said that the tariff will be increased to 125% from original 104% after China announced additional retaliatory tariffs against the United States earlier Wednesday. The higher tariff on China came after the latter announced a retaliatory tariff of 84% on American goods. All other countries, Trump said that countries were subjected to reciprocal tariff rates will go back down to the universal 10% rate. So that's the baseline tariff that President Trump announced earlier this year. And that shocking announcement was made as the worldwide reciprocal tariff rate takes effect April 9th. And also, the question is the Philippines included on the 90-day reciprocal tariff pause? And that is something to look forward to, though the 10% tariff baseline is too huge to bear. And if you can recall, President Trump has released a table of countries with tariff rates, with Philippines included at 17%. So at the same time, here in the Philippines, particularly the Malacanang, has released this statement saying that the imposed 17% tariff will only have a minimal impact rather. Furthermore, it assured that tariff imposed on the Philippines is lower compared to tariff rates set for other countries. And because Singapore is at 10% tariff rate. And meanwhile, Trump said that he did a 90-day pause for countries that did not retaliate in his, I call it, revolutionary economic policy, as he warns that he will double the tariff on countries that will impose a counter-tariff measures against it. Back here in Manila, Department of Trade and Industry Secretary Maria Cristina Roque said she already signified a meeting with her counterpart in Washington to discuss ways forward on bilateral trade relations of the two countries. Trade Secretary Roque said the Philippines will not retaliate against the recently imposed 17% tariff on certain Philippine goods entering the U.S. market as part of Trump's quote-unquote Liberation Day. She said the Marcos administration prefers a constructive approach focused on strengthening trade ties with the U.S. Secretary Roque also floated the possibility of lowering tariffs on U.S. imports as a gesture of goodwill in the hope that Washington might reconsider its decision, given that 17% is too huge for us, and as well as Singapore at 10%, and then that's too huge. That number is too huge to bear. And meanwhile, China's lack of respect, President Trump said to the world markets is the primary reason the Trump administration increased the tariff rate to the world's second largest economy. With these emerging developments in the global economy, we must keep an eye out. And this is simply a wait and see game as global trade war ensues. And before we conclude this program, we would like to announce that President Marcos Jr. will sign or witness the signing of the joint memorandum circular, particularly the joining of the PRC and the CHED memorandum circulars, which will be aired later in the program. And with that concludes this edition of Front and Center. Together with Radyo Pilipinas World Service production team and technical personnel Milo Janela and Hiro Lucero, this is your host Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay. Love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.